Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Ride 5 on its main release day. Now I've been playing through this game since Monday with the special edition. I've been having a ton of fun and I'm going to bring you part 3 of my world tour or career playthrough. Once again going to be riding on the Honda CBR 600RR from 2009, pretty much fully upgraded just to kind of sit in the category that we're allowed, or the performance limit that we're allowed for this bike. So it should be a bunch of fun. We're actually going to cover two different, I guess, sections of the world tour. We're going to have our first head-to-head, and then we're going to move over to another championship for these 600cc sport bikes. So plenty to cover, and we're going to jump straight into it. So for the first part of this video, we're going to cover the first head-to-head. We've got it with Charles Nolan. As you can see, it's going to be a 3-lap race at Daytona International Speedway on a bit of a different layout. If you've ever kind of done it on 4 wheels, well, it's the infield, but kind of a bit more muddled up. So we do have a set bike for this one, which is why you'll probably notice there's a random Suzuki on the back of the van as we decide to drive over to Daytona, funnily enough. So we're going to get the typical intro for this. As you can see, we've got a nice little loading screen showing off the rider that we're going to go against, and then we get the typical country intro. So for the first time, we're going to head over here to the United States, and this is where we're going to see yet again a bunch of more tourist information really on the area. So again, pretty cool intro. It's nice to see kind of different things that they pick for each country, but we are essentially going to be heading over to Daytona itself. As you can see, Daytona International Speedway. It's going to be on the infield, but it's a little bit different from what you've probably seen in some other more 4-wheel racing games and such. So it's going to be a bit more of a different layout. So it's a head-to-head, so it's just myself and him on the starting line on equal bikes. Again, if we do win this, we will then get this Suzuki as a reward for the 600cc sports category. And to be honest, it was just an absolute breeze. As you can see, for the different medals, you just need to get a victory, which is going to give you gold, plus 9.4 seconds. It's a bit generous, but that's going to get you silver, and 37 seconds behind is going to give you a bronze. So to be quite honest, I'd expect nearly everyone to win this. Obviously there's no other traffic to worry about, which just made this event all too easy. And even on a bit of a rough outlap for the beginning of this event, we did manage to gap him by almost 2.5 seconds as we went up across the line, and that gap's only going to grow as we continue to go around the track. And to be honest, it was that easy that by the time we came to the end, we was nearly 10 seconds up and absolutely breezed our head-to-head in terms of our first one of our career. So no problems there. That's going to get us the Suzuki GSX R600 from 2005 in our collection, as well as giving us a nice easy win for our first head-to-head event. Now next, because that one was so short, we're going to move into another championship. I believe we've not had one of these since I think the first event, which was the 250cc 2-stroke, and this is going to be the Sport Bike 600 British Championship, meaning that we're only going to be in Great Britain, and we've got the likes of Snetterton, Donington Park and Alton Park to be essentially racing these bikes around. So Snetterton is the 100. It's a very, very short circuit. Well, once again, I'm going to go with the Honda just because I've already got the upgrades on it. I'm used to how this bike feels, and I know there's plenty of pace in that thing. So again, we're going to load the bike up on the back of the van and head out to Great Britain for 3 quick fire rounds, with the longest one of the bunch actually being the Donington Park round, which is taking place on the full GP circuit. But before we get to that, we have to go to the Snetterton 100, a very, very short track. This one very, very kind of, braking intensive. Once you sort of get up to speed, you're all of a sudden straight again on the brakes. So we're once again going to get that intro for Great Britain, just taking you around the likes of Edinburgh Castle, I believe, and a bunch of the nice sights in London and the White Cliffs. But we are essentially going to be heading over to Snetterton once again. I believe we've done the 200 layout before for the 250cc 2-stroke, but we're going to be doing a much shorter event this time around with the 600 bike. So this is going to be an absolute breeze. It's going to take all of a couple of minutes to get done. The main thing is that you're in a big pack of bikes. You still have 20 bikes on this tiny little layout, which means it's a bit of a cluster to begin with. You really need to get a good start to be making up as much time as possible, and because there's so many bikes on such a short track, you're going to be seeing people bumping and bashing each other constantly. So the first thing you realistically want to do is just absolutely get away, and well, that's what we did. As you can see, it's a very relatively small lap, mainly just heavy braking zone after heavy braking zone. We do get overtook there by Valenti, but we are once again going to pop it up the inside and try and get this one covered off. He's then going to try and look up the inside of us once again, but we just get that one covered. Much better exit, and we can pretty much break free as we have a bit of a breather at the end of the lap for at least a tiny bit of a straight. We're nowhere near hitting the top speed of this bike though, so once again it's a very quick short event. It gets a little bit gloomy throughout, but we did manage to breeze this one rather quite easy. So that's going to be event number 1 of 3 of this championship. Again, they're all 3-lap sprints, pretty much identical to the 250cc 2-stroke that we saw previously. And this is going to give us a nice lead of 25 points with a 5-point gap to Valenti there in P2. Once again, we're going to get the intro for the United Kingdom, just mainly because, well, that's where all of these take place. And we're going to be heading over to my personal favourite track, literally ever, which is going to be Donington Park on the full GP layout, which I thought was a little bit weird, considering all of the other tracks either have, you know, they're quite shorter layouts on the show for this championship. You are essentially given the GP layout instead of the national layout of Donington Park. So I'm expecting to breeze this one. I've been around this track a million times, whether that be in person or, you know, on many different racing games, so it should be a rather simple and straightforward event for myself, and well, it proved to be that way. So again, decent launch on the Honda. We're going to head over to the outside. As you can see, everyone kind of bumping into each other, and that's going to, you know, cause us to get into the back of someone there, but we do manage to get past as we go for a run down the Craner curves out of Hollywood there, and then it's a big long run down as we go towards the old hairpin at the bottom. It's just a quick little right-hander. You really want a decent run out of here. If you get a decent run, you've got a nice run when you go back up the hill into the left-hander. We do get caught up a little bit once again on the back of Valenti, but we're going to try our best to essentially get it down the inside, which we're not going to quite do. We're just a little bit too far back. We do seem to be getting much better exit speeds than him, but again, he's just kind of, you know, making sure we can't get past him. So with that not working, we're just going to go all the way around the outside at Coppice, hold it in there, and then essentially get a nice big long run down this long straight that just goes on for absolutely what feels like forever before you hit the you know, the S's there with the left and right. So again, overall a fairly easy event. It was a typically gloomy day here in England or Great Britain, whatever we want to call it. So again, you know, temperatures overall quite cool, nothing to worry about in terms of heat or tyre wear. There's none of that turned on, so we can essentially just have a massive sprint to the finish, and that's what we did, gapping the rest of the AI by around about 4.5, nearly 5 seconds come the end of it, taking the fastest lap with a 1:35.804, around about 2 seconds quicker than any other bike on that grid, which gives us the maximum 50 points, 17 points in the lead of second place there. So again, we just need to get a decent chunk of points here for the final round, and it should easily guarantee us a nice easy championship win. So let's move on to the final round. We're going to once again get that intro, and we're going to head over to Alton Park. It's not going to be the entire layout. It's going to be, I think, what they call the Foster's course or something like that. So it's a bit of a shortened layout. It's going to cut out a lot of the sort of, you know, where the beginning of the track sort of loops back around on itself. All that's going to be cut out. You're essentially going to be running sort of around about half of the track in reality. Again, overall a fairly quick lap here at Alton Park, and a fairly quick event overall for another 3-lap sprint. So let's go ahead and see if we can get a decent start on the Honda. Now this is a track that I'm not really too confident at. The Snetterton one was rather quite easy because it was just so short and such a simple layout. Donington Park I know off by, you know, like the back of my hand really, but Alton Park is just one that I can never seem to get right. So we're going to head into the right-hander here, hang it out wide, and hope for the best as we try and get a nice fast run. Now the AI was blisteringly quick through this section where I was rather quite slow. Everybody's going to stop bumping and bashing into each other, and then we're going to try and get it nice and late on the brakes, trying to just, you know, make sure we back out of it at the right time, just to not run into the back of anyone and fall on our arse. But we do manage to keep it going. Currently in P6, we're going to try and get a nice run up the hill into the left-hander. A little bit of a lift here. If you get it absolutely perfect, you won't be lifting, which is pretty much what we ended up doing. So we're currently in P5, down the inside into P4. And now we're going to attempt to try and chase down the rest of the pack. Now this section here I absolutely love because it's just a bit of a double bump. So you sort of go from these really quite big bumps into a really tight braking section. Again, the AI very weak on their corner exit speed. And this is going to allow us to essentially just sit on the back of them and try and pull them on the straight. So we're going to try and hang it around the outside here of P3. Get that one done, get that one covered off, and then straight up the inside to get ourselves into P2. Meaning that we've just got Valenti in front. Now at this point, it's an easy championship win. We don't necessarily have to push all too hard just to ensure that we get the bike home and essentially take the championship. But, you know, I just can't give up there. So we pop a wheelie out of there, try and get our foot down once again over the bumps into the right-hander on lap 2. See if we can try and get a look up the inside. Not quite. Once again, AI extremely slow out of that corner. We're going to take a bit of a dip on the grass and then try and get ourselves sort of I guess calm back down to try and get this position done. So into the right hander at turn 1, as you can see, we're going to try and get a move on the exit. We're going to finally sort of get it done, but again I'm just a little bit too slow around there. This is going to allow the AI the inside line, so we're going to hang it out wide, try and get him into the tight braking zone. We do make a bit of contact there, but we do manage to get that first position eventually. Maybe not in the cleanest of circumstances, but eventually on the final lap we do manage to take P1, and this is going to essentially ensure we've got the championship in the bag as we take a nice little wobble there up the hill. But we're going to cross the line P1, essentially winning all 3 events, maximum points, not even getting the fastest lap there. Around about a tenth faster was Nolan there. So yeah, just not too much pace for myself around Autumn Park. Definitely one that I struggled at. Overall though, we do take the maximum 75 points with P2 with 51, and then Ross in 3rd with 46. So that's another championship done and dusted, as well as our first head-to-head event for this game. To be quite honest, I don't find them too intriguing, but they are pretty cool to just have a full-blown head-to-head. Next up, we'll be running the 700cc naked bikes, which are, you know, rather quite quirky, a lot slower than the sport bikes, and even feeling slower than the 250cc's. They're very easy to ride. We've got a bunch of sort of single races and events. So we've got a single race at Blue Wave, which is an awesome track, and the first place you ever go. Then we've got Virginia. We're going to be taking another single race there before heading over to Kyalami, which is in South Africa, for a time attack once again. Pretty similar to Monza, but a much better layout in my opinion for these motorbikes. And then we're going to head over to Suzuka on its East Course layout for another single race, and that is going to cover our next episode, so I'll bring that to you guys tomorrow. So that's going to be it for episode 3 of our playthrough. Again, we've got a ton of things covered now. I believe that was sort of, I think, 4 events covered. We've had 250cc 2-strokes, we've had a bunch of the 600cc sport bikes, which are now covered and done and dusted, at least for now anyway. I'm sure they may just make a return later on in the game, but again, nice easy win there, to be honest, rather too easy. So I may bump up the AI after the naked bikes. I think no matter what with those naked bikes, AI are just far too easy anyway. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Ride 5 down in the comments below, and I will see you later on. Take care guys, peace.